what we're talking about today, the promised return of the gods. And what do that mean? Everybody saying hi in the room, and we're looking good, right? Excellent. So let's talk about the promised return of the gods. What does this mean? As we normally do, we start back at the beginning. We start back with the Anunnaki. The Anunnaki, where did they came from? They came from Nibiru. Why did they come here? They came here because they had a hole in their atmosphere and they needed gold. And they was desperate for gold, and they crossed, one of their pioneers crossed the broken bracelet, which is not the asteroid belt, which is the Oort cloud, and they found the Earth, and they discovered gold here. And they mined gold to take it back to the planet to fix their atmosphere. They was crushing gold to microscopic and injecting it into their atmosphere to close the hole in their atmosphere. And they was here for a very long time. And it says in the old books that when they first came here, they was with the old ones. And the old ones eventually rebelled, and they was destroyed from the surface of the earth and chased into their underground caves. And then the Anunnaki was put to work. But the work was very hard and dangerous, and there was lots of protest and a lot of work stoppages because the Anunnaki didn't like doing the work. So they created the new ones. Who are the new ones? We are the new ones. They took a primitive primate creature. This is written about 6,000 years ago in the clay tablets of Ur. And also, there's copies of this in the Library of Nineveh, that they took a primitive primate creature, and they was doing experiments on it, and they was trying to get it to do work, to get it to learn where it could speak, and they could communicate with it, and it could follow basic instruction. And they worked on this project for a very long time. And no matter what they did, they could not get with this primate creature to be hairless, and they could not get it to be intelligent. And they tried everything. And when I mean they tried everything, they mean they tried everything. And at the end, they was ready to give up on this project. And then they, as a last-ditch effort, they did something. They took the fertilized egg of one of these primate creatures, the one they was working with, and they put it into one of their women. And when the baby was born, it produced what was called the alpha, what we called the Adam. It was hairless, it could speak, it was everything. And they were so proud of this thing, and they took it to their home planet, and they said it looked exactly like them. But it was just of a lot smaller stature. And they got permission from their home planet to go into mass production, and that is where we come from. Okay, and this is what we was, and this is why they was here, and they was here for a very long time, mining gold, and that was what we was doing. Our main job was that, until the call came out. The call came out that gold was no longer required. And when the call came out that gold was no longer required, most of their people went back to their home world, but the younger generation of them did not want to go back because they have been here for so long, they knew nothing about their home world. They decided to stay here and establish empire. And they split the earth between them, and they set up what we call today civilization. And they ruled over man. Okay. And that's where the gods was. And as it was in the Bible, God and man, man served the gods. And the gods lived with us. This how it was for a very long period of time after that. Until an event happened. We had during the flood, the gods left and they came back. And then they appointed, instead of them ruling directly over us, they was ruling over us indirectly. They let the demigods rule. And this went on for a very long time until a problem came along. The ruler of the Anunnaki at that time was Zeus. Zeus was a lover of women. He had lots of women he was fooling around with. And he was creating all these demigods, which is a half man, half god. Hercules is the most popular, most famous one of these, but there was a lot of these creatures. And Zeus started a war on Earth, the battle between Troy and the Greeks. And this war started a war in heaven, and it changed everything. At the end of the war, Apollo, Zeus' son, overthrew Zeus, and Apollo withdrew the gods. He wanted separation between man and God. Okay. And this is when I'm going to explain something which most people don't understand. The pyramid was one until Apollo separated man from the gods. And then the top of the pyramid separated from the rest of the pyramid, because Apollo wanted separation between man and the gods. And we've been under this separation ever since then. But they are coming back. Their project, which they're working on right now, I still haven't told you why I'm doing these meetings, but one of the projects I'm working on too, and some other people, is they're going to put the top of the pyramid back on the pyramid again. The pyramid is going to be one in the future. Okay, there is not going to be separation in the future. There's going to be man and God will live together again. Okay. And this is what you read about in the Bible. This is what, and they're preparing us for this. And what do this mean when the pyramid is going to be, the top of the pyramid is going to be back on the pyramid? Before I answer that question, let's see if any comments of any kind. Or have I left everybody in the dust? No. But everybody's doing good. Everybody's just saying, excellent. Yeah. Okay. Now, the gods had power when they was here. This is how they was able to rule. And we're going to go over the 3 ways that the gods had power, so you can understand. Because there's only 2 things that separates man from God, which is in the Bible. What separates man from God is knowledge and eternal life. Okay. So they have always tried to keep knowledge from us. This is why there was the tree of knowledge of good and evil. This is why it was the Tower of Babel. They tried to keep knowledge from us. Okay. And there's a secret of the gods, the power they had. The gods had 3 different types of power. 1/3 of the gods was born with power. 1/3 of the gods was given power. And 1/3 of the gods had technology. They didn't have power. Now we're going to use an analogy. 1/3 of the gods was born with power. Superman. 1/3 of the gods was given power. Thor, the hammer. 1/3 of the gods had technology. Batman. Iron Man. In the Justice League, they're all equal. If you born with power, given power, or use technology to have power, you are equal. That is what the Avengers is all about. That is what the Avenger movies are all about. Some of them have power. Some of them was given power. Some of them have technology, but they're all one and the same. When the gods return, they will have power. The secret of all of these Avenger movies, the X-Men movies, all of the Marvel movies, the DC comic movies, when the gods return, it's going to be 2 types of people. The ones who have power and the ones who don't. And what you see in all of these superhero movies is that when the gods are fighting, knocking over buildings. The regular people are just trying to survive and get out of the way because the police can't do anything. The military has no power. When we try to use our tanks, they flip our tanks and throw our tanks like they're toys. When the police try to shoot at them, it has no effect. It takes a God to fight against a God because these gods have free will. Some of them are good or bad. This is the problem that they faced in the old times. Some of the gods was good, some of them are bad. The Bible says in the end, everything will be as it was before the flood. This is where we're quickly coming to. This is what they're preparing us for, is that the gods are returning and these people with power is going to be here. And it's nice to see Superman, it's nice to see Spider-Man and all these other superheroes, the Hulk and all of them. But when they're knocking down buildings and fighting and doing all this work, the regular people are just trying to get out of the way because we're powerless. We don't have nothing. This is what the X-Men movies are all about. Is that this is what Babylon 5 talks about. That several of these movies, that in the future, out in the 20th century, that strange people start being born with abilities. And this is why this guy started getting these people together and putting them in his school. Because some of these people with powers have good intentions, some of them had bad intentions. But as you see in the X-Men movies, if you don't have power, you just need to get out of the way, because when they're fighting Magneto and all these other ones, if you don't have any power, you are nothing. This is the future that, unfortunately, all of mankind will face very soon. That when the gods return, these people do have power. And to let you know a secret that you're not supposed to know, since I'm the bearer of bad news and the one that makes you not sleep at night, I will tell you the bad news. These people are already here. Okay. There are people on this planet now that have powers and abilities which you do not know about because they have not revealed their power yet. Just like in the movie Aquaman, he had power, but he was acting like he was a regular fisherman. Superman had power, but he was acting like he was Clark Kent. These people are already here among us. But they're pretending like they don't know. They don't want us to know yet that they're here. And they're mingling in. Okay. You see what I'm saying? This is mentioned in the Bible. See, people in Jesus' day didn't know that Jesus had power. This is why it says in the Bible, when Jesus went to the wedding feast and they ran out of wine, his mom said, Jesus, they ran out, they don't have any more wine. And Jesus said, Mother, why do you tell me of these things? Because she knew he had power. So, as a favor to her, he took water and turned it into wine. Up until that point, no one knew Jesus had any power. He had power the whole time, but he was hiding it. But what's the point of having power if you're going to hide your power? You understand? This is what these people are doing now. And in the superhero movies, they wait until an event happens where they all come out of hiding. Okay. And that event hasn't happened yet. This is what we don't know what this event is. Is the event like when Superman only reveals himself when his arch enemies attack the earth. That's when he come out of hiding. Okay. We don't know the event that these people are waiting for, but these people, these beings with power, are already among us. Okay. And once they reveal themselves, unfortunately, the world as we know it will be no more. Because just like with Spider-Man and the Hulk and all these other people, once they established what they call, like in the movie, they set up with the Avengers. The Avengers basically run everything. If you're not an Avenger, if there's any problem in the world, the Avengers handle it. It's no longer the UN, it's no longer the United States, it's no longer anybody. If there's a problem, the Avengers take care of the problem because they're the ones who have all the power. And this, unfortunately, is what they want in our future. They want to rule over man like they did a long time ago. And for us to serve them and work for them. Okay. So, let's have questions so far. Do we have any questions so far?
No, people are just really making comments.
Okay, comments. So, will this be good or bad? It will be good and bad. It will be good when things are good, but when the people with power start fighting, we just need to get out of the way because we don't have power. And just like when the Hulk gets mad and he's throwing tanks around and all this stuff, we just need to get out of the way. Okay. And why this is coming back is because, see, right now there's separation. And where are these people who are separated from us? See, as they talk about in the movies, there's, Thor is always flying off to Asgard, which is that direction. You see him fly that the way. Okay. But what you don't know is Asgard is not that way. Asgard is that way. They're below our feet right now. This is why we see their craft flying over, and we see airplanes keep seeing these strange giant craft, especially over the ocean, and the Navy have seen these giant things coming in and out of the ocean. They're doing everything. But the problem is, because of our technology, their days of hiding is coming to an end. They will no longer be able to hide. So they can either reduce us back to caveman days, so they can have peace, or they can live among us. And they have decided to let us cross as long as we can live with them. And they're tired of hiding. And with the weaponry that we have now, we're now a threat to them. So they need to solve that problem. Okay. They was not impressed with our dropping nuclear bombs on Japan. They're not impressed with our little missiles. They're not impressed with our stealth bombers. They're not impressed with a lot of things we have. And the technology we're getting now is getting too close to their technology. We're not a threat to their big ships and everything. We shoot down one of their little scout ships every now and then. But the rate we're going, maybe in 50, 100 years, we might shoot down something big. And then we can really piss them off. And we really don't want to piss them off. Okay. So this is the point of where we are now. And this is what we pray for. Is that we want, see, our prayer is that we want Jesus or Christ to come back. And the Lord's Prayer said that we want God's will to be on earth as it is in heaven. Right now, his will is not here. Okay. But not everybody is on his side. That's what that war upstairs is all about. There's other people who is on the other side. So, in this war, the problem is you got the people. This is what the movie, since we're talking secret society films, this is what the movie Star Wars is all about. You have the evil empire and you have the good rebels. Well, let's flip it over. The evil empire are those people upstairs, which is the government of space. And the good rebels are those people below our feet that live inside the earth. Okay. And I think they flipped the movie backwards. The problem is, if the people with the big ships in outer space and the people inside the earth get in a war, unfortunately, we're the ants that live on the surface of this planet. We're going to get smashed. Okay. The Bible says that the Son of Man will step on the serpent's head and crush his head. That's only half the story. They always tell you half. Demonic Bible. It says that the serpent, the Son of Man, will step on the serpent's head and crush his head, but the serpent will bite the Son of Man in the heel, and they will both die. Okay. There's another passage which you don't know about, which talks about that when the day comes when the war break out, is that the earth will be left a burnt out cinder and it will be uninhabitable. Okay. Because when they start fighting, we're the ants that live on the surface of this planet. When they pull out their big giant ships, just like in Star Wars, and the people inside the earth pull out their big giant weapons and they start shooting at each other, you can pull out your AK-47, you can pull out your little 9mm if you want to. You're going to need something a lot stronger than that. Okay. It's just not going to work. Okay. They had technology, and they have technology thousands of years ago that we still don't understand today. Okay. So they are so far ahead of us. One weapon is described in the Bible. It says that in the end, in the movie Independence Day, we defeat those bad aliens coming from outer space, the government of space, the bad ones, we unite all the nations of the earth to fight against them. In the book of Revelations, it says that all the nations of the earth will unite to fight against God. And he will use his weapon against them. And your flesh will melt from your bones. And they will just be skeletons. We don't have a weapon like that in the U.S. arsenal. We don't have a weapon like that in the Russian arsenal. And this was written thousands of years ago. They probably got a new version of that weapon now. We don't even have the old version. How are we supposed to defend ourselves against this stuff? It's going to be very bad. Okay. So, what we need to do, we have a choice. We can either try to work out some deal with these people where we can try to get along, or we can give them the finger and they, I don't know. Okay, but that we don't have, that day of reckoning is coming very, very soon. And what we need to do is to prepare ourselves. And since I'm into telling you things you're not supposed to know, okay, let me tell you something else you don't know. Okay, remember back a long time ago when they was building this nuclear shield over the earth to protect us against Soviet missiles, and they kept saying, and we was going to build a shield over the United States to protect us, and they kept saying, and we could say, but how is this going to protect us against tens of thousands of Russian missiles? They kept saying, well, it's not meant to protect us against thousands of missiles. And why have we been working on that thing for 20 years? And we've been putting all this stuff in space to protect the United States. See, we're not protecting against the Russians. We've been building a planetary defense system to protect the Earth. You didn't know that. I just told you. Okay. So when those bad people come, we can shoot our little BB guns at them. Okay. That's what we're planning on doing. And we have spent billions of dollars in and we have our secret space program out there. That's why you be hearing about this secret space program, and we got these little military vessels in outer space, which is not run by the Air Force, which I'll tell you some more beans. The reason why the Air Force keeps saying they don't have any records of UFOs because everything to do with outer space is run by the Navy, not by the Air Force. Okay, so we're asking the wrong people. All those secret ships in outer space is run by the Navy, not by the Air Force. And they have all kind of stuff out there. And when these people come, we're going to shoot our little tiny nuclear missiles at them. And they're going to fire their, they got their Death Stars. And maybe, I think we probably won't win that battle. Okay. But we have to do something. So the point of this conversation is, now why are we going over this? So you can stick your head in the sand? No, because remember, we've been saying for a long time, we want to know what's going on. We want disclosure. We want to be informed. Why don't they land on the White House lawn and let us know what's going on? That day is coming, but it's not going to come where they land the way we want them to land. Because they're already here. Our thing is we need to figure out publicly, and the government been working with these people for 50, 75 years already. They are getting to the point where they need to start letting the public know. This is a part of the project that I'm working on, is to I'm slowly spilling the beans. This is why I'm your full spectrum Gnostic, because the secret of telling people Gnostic information, the punishment is death. Okay, in case you don't know that. And I have tell y'all all kind of information which I'm not supposed to tell y'all. But right now, oops, the cat cares, but nobody can. That was a cat. That wasn't a ghost, though, in case y'all saw something. Okay.
Okay.
Right now, the thing that's going on is that they just want the word put out. Because the government was supposed to have told us a long time ago. And they keep saying, next year, we'll tell her in 5 years, we need another year, we need 2 more years. And they're running out of time. And the rate they're going, 25 years from now, they'll still be saying, maybe 2 more years. Maybe when the next president comes, they're never going to tell us. So they're not depending on them to tell us anymore. They're going to let people start letting the information out. I'm one of those people. So, we need to do what we need to do, because the future is going to be totally different than it is today. What they're offering us in exchange, remember, polar shift is coming. Our sun's going to explode. We went over this before. And these giant tidal waves and all this stuff. And the Bible says 1/3 of the earth is going to get burned. And a third of the water is going to become polluted. And there's going to be all kind of stuff. And Lisa's out of control.
Sorry.
Okay. That's going to happen. They're going to save us from polar shift. They're not going to abandon us like they did last time in the flood of Noah's day. They're going to try to save 5 billion of the 7 billion on this planet. But I keep telling you, nothing is for free. The price of them saving us is when the earth is reestablished and everything is put back. We will be one. The top of the pyramid is going to be on the pyramid, and we will be one. Just like you see in the Avenger movies, Thor is no longer flying away. They will be among us. And we will be with them. And we will be happy, I guess. Or maybe we won't be happy. But either way, will we have much say about it? It's going to be totally different. Okay, it's going to be a different world. It's going to be like a whole new world. We're just not going to be in Kansas anymore. You know what I'm saying, don't you? But that is the future that we have in store. And we don't have really much choice about it. Because if we don't agree to this, they're not going to save our butts. And then we're going to all perish. And then they'll just start over. That is what the secret of Endgames is. The secret of that movie. See, remember, he only killed half of all life. He regretted not killing all life and starting over. In the flood of Noah's day, they almost killed all life. This time they're going to save 5 billion of 7 billion. Okay. They don't have to save any of us. But nothing's for free. So, That's the reason the world is going to be a totally different place. In 2045, 2070, it's going to look exactly like Star Trek. We're going to have futuristic stuff. We're going to have all kind of stuff. There's going to be people with all kind of powers. But me and you, we'll still be probably getting in our cars, going to work and doing the same because we don't have no power. Okay. So if you have power, but some religions already know about this. Let's go into somebody else that we're not supposed to be talking about. Those Mormons already know about this. See, the Mormons talk about the goal of being a Mormon is to one day to become a God man. Okay, that is their goal. The infinite goal of all Mormons is to become a God man. What is a God man? A superman. Okay. Remember, there's 3 ways to become a God. Born with power, given power, or have technology. The Iron Man became a god through technology. Batman became a god through technology. Okay. Maybe with some supercomputer, some of us can get to the point where one day we can be God with a little tiny, super tiny G. Okay. But that G's going to be super small.